Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee and Conversation. It is so good to have everybody here today. Tara is still, actually, I know exactly where Tara is because she very annoyingly just texted us that she's drinking wine on the
I know, I was
slopes
like,
of
I'm
Mount.
running late. And she's like, sorry, guys, I'm on the top of Mount whatever. And I was like,
Yeah, she's on the slopes of Mount Etna drinking wine. So we all should not feel sorry for Tara Setmayer. She's living her very best life. I'm like, oh, okay. I was too exhausted after this week.
I was like, I roll out of bed.
Roll out
My
of
cat's
bed. I
clawing at.
didn't sleep half the night because I couldn't. My dog was shaking. I don't know what he was doing. He was shaking himself off all night long. So his collar kept waking me up. And then I get this text from Tara, and I was like, okay, nobody likes to show up. We love you, Tara. If you're watching, which you better not be because you're drinking wine on the slopes of Mount Etna, we are super jealous, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Joe,
Her birthday's on Tuesday.
Her birthday's on Tuesday, so we're going to wish Tara a wonderful birthday on Tuesday.
Yep.
She's going to be back on Wednesday. I don't even know when Tara's back.
We
don't know. Okay, we don't think so. All right, so
we'll Thursday or so. Yeah, she's not going to be here for Wednesday. No.
All right, so we'll do a little tribute to Tara on Wednesday for her birthday then. Meanwhile, Joe is going to potentially try to join us, but she is at her daughter's soccer game. So we're not sure if she's going to be able to join. And I can totally understand that because it is that time of year for me. Also, that's about to start. I'm about to start, Michelle, not just the soccer season, which is a nightmare if you live in New York, because for anybody who knows the geography of Manhattan, a lot of these soccer games take place at a place called Randall's Island, which is this freezing island. It's literally in the middle of the East River with an insane asylum on the grounds.
My husband, Joe used to play soccer over there because my husband played soccer growing up, and he very, very good, right? Like one of the best teams in the state of New York, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so obviously, I mean, he didn't play D1. He didn't go to school for soccer like his sister did. But he did still play as a young adult, did all the Zog sports stuff, and then he did whatever the equivalent was when he lived at DC. But the Zog sports stuff was always at Randall's Island.
It's always at Randall's Island.
But did they play? No, not Roosevelt. I guess it was Randall's Island only. But then there was they play up in the Bronx, and they'd play there, and it was all over the place.
It's nonstop. I finally stopped doing travel soccer because I put my foot down because it was literally every single weekend, long weekend, especially Memorial Day weekend and President's weekend, and I mean, you name it, was me in Albany or South Jersey, the very far south. And it was just, and as he was going to get older, it was going to be up and down the East Coast, and then eventually.
That's what Joe did and his sister did, and my mother-in-law tells me stories about we had to fly to San Diego, and we went here, and we were there, and I'm like,
I know, and it's so anyway. So I put my foot down on that. So he's just doing that for school, but also I'm starting squash season, which I know sounds very.
That sounds very
country clubby. I know.
Yeah.
It sounds like it. It's not like horseback riding or anything else. But but my guy's into squash, and what that means is I'm going to have to start going on weekends to all of these squash tournaments again. So anyway, it's going to be a chore. And so we all can pour one out for JoJo, who is busy on the soccer field right now. At least it's sort of a nice day here on the East Coast and the Northeast. Typically, as the season wears on, it gets colder and colder. And you're, at least for me, standing on Randall's Island, in 5 layers, shivering, praying to the sweet baby Jesus that this game is going to be over soon. And it never is over soon. But that's what you have to do if you're a mom. Which includes,
so true. And it's, I see that there's a lot of, soccer going on in Riverside Park on the weekend. There's the West Side soccer kids. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause there's Riverside Park, if anybody doesn't know, New York, it's the other big park. It goes along the west side of Manhattan, and it goes from about 72nd Street-ish up.
Riverside Park?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it goes all the way from the Battery all the way up to the
Well, but like Riverside Park, like itself, like
itself.
because the
Yeah, yeah,
highway is on the, all
yeah,
those Trump buildings are on the other side. So
yeah.
like Riverside Park itself goes from like I think 72nd all the way. I mean, it goes up into the hundreds and stuff. It's very long and big, and so there's a lot of soccer fields and there's a lot of baseball fields and stuff. So you'll see a lot of kids playing, and it's actually kind of nice, you know, as a non-parent, you know, walking up and down Riverside Park, like when it's nice out, is it's kind of nice. There's a good energy, but it's actually there was a story that was national about one of the soccer teams that was playing there that like ICE went after one of the kids on one of the teams. Did you see that? This was like maybe a month or
You know
month and a
what?
half
If I
ago.
did, it was probably part of the other horror of what ICE has been doing in New
I
York.
know. Oh, yeah.
You know, there's a story, I forgot where, maybe in the Times. I couldn't sleep all night, as I said. So I was reading the story, and it's really pretty awful, Michelle, about how all of these undocumented immigrants were showing up in court to get their day in court,
Yep.
getting basically asking for asylum or otherwise saying why they needed to stay there. And the judge adjourned it till March because that's what you do in a court case. And unfortunately, the minute they walked out,
Yeah.
and the judge said to them, hold on to this paper that I'm giving you. It shows that you have a court date in March. They really shouldn't be able to do anything with you. The minute they walk out of his
Yeah,
courtroom,
they don't care.
hallway, ICE swoops them up and arrests them. And it's just, I don't understand how this is like, do we have a country of laws or not? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. And I know for everybody who says, well, they came here illegally and so on and so forth. First of all, a lot of them did not come here illegally. A lot of them asked for asylum at the border, which you have every right to do.
It's every right to do.
And, you know, I'll give you an example. There's a story, if you guys are familiar with Olga Lautman, who I do my Thursday show with, and also a Tuesday show now. But she has a wonderful Substack called Unmasking Russia, and also another one called the Trump Tyranny Tracker. And if you don't follow her on Substack, you should. She's fantastic. She's very sort of immersed in the Russia stuff. The United States government deported, I think it was, I forgot the number, either 10 or 30, but some significant number of people who were fleeing Putin and came to this country looking for asylum because they knew that they would be in prison if they stayed for doing nothing more than just saying that they don't agree with the special operation, which i.e. the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
And the United States government put them back on a plane to Moscow, where they will be arrested, or probably already have by now been arrested, immediately sent to prison, and eventually to serve decades, a life term, I don't know how long, in the Gulag. You guys, that was me and my family.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we came here as refugees from Moscow. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, my God, if Jimmy Carter had not been president and Donald Trump had been president when we did this, my parents would have been taken away from me, sent to the Gulag. I probably would never see them again, or maybe would have seen them again when I was an adult.
Yeah.
And what the hell would have become of me? Orphanage? Grandparents who were already old at that point? Like, what? Like, think about what's going on right now.
I know.
I mean, think about what's going on right now. And there are people coming there with their children.
Yeah.
And they're ripping the parents away from the children and effectively, and then sending the children back to Venezuela or wherever the hell they're sending them back by themselves. And
I know.
You know, and then on top of all of that, you've got to only be so heavy starting off right at the very top here. But, you know, again, speaking of my son, you know, he's a soccer player, as a lot of, I see in the chat, a lot of our kids are. And he asked me if we could get tickets to the World Cup, because the World Cup is 2026 in the New York, New Jersey area. I think they're doing a bunch of things at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. So that's right across the river from us in New York.
Yeah.
He asked me if we could go. And I was like, oh, it's going to be really hard to get tickets, really expensive. And then I'm thinking, really? Because I'm not so sure it is going to be hard to get tickets.
I don't know that people are going to come here. I mean, I
wouldn't.
I mean,
would you come here? Would you come here from Brazil or Argentina or Venezuela or any?
Absolutely not. Knowing that I could enter the United States as a person from another country, especially if I had darker skin, I mean, like, because they are profiling people, they are just ripping people off the street for that. And, the fact that you could just be swept up and thrown into a detention center, either here or in Africa, with no day in court, no due process, and you might get back home, but it could be a year, it could be years. Um, like that is what people are risking coming to the United States of America right now. And and to your point about the courts, and people going for their court dates, I saw a video, maybe I think it was over the summer, of this man coming out of, and there's cameras everywhere. So there was a lot of people who got this on film and took photographs.
Yeah.
He came out and he had his backpack and like his papers in his hand, and he had, again, all these people doing the right thing, the thing that they're supposed to be doing, and they grab him and they start dragging him down the hallway, and you can just see it in his eyes, the terror of being like, oh my God, my life is over in like an instant. And I'm wondering why we can't start having these appointments with judges online. Why can't they be virtual? Because people are risking their lives to come to do the right thing, and like they want to do the right thing. And I think these people, are afraid to do the right thing. They're afraid not to do the right thing.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, I hate to say this, I wouldn't show up.
No, hell no.
I wouldn't show up, and you know, for me to say that is crazy because nobody's a better sort of rule follower than me. But I wouldn't show up right now. Yeah, I mean, like, I just wouldn't, because the fear of getting arrested, sent to CCOT,
Yeah,
worse than CCOT. Well, not worse than CCOT, but they're now sending people to like Uganda and to these random
the Abrigo Garcia,
like Abrigo Garcia, to some random landlocked country that's the last absolute monarchy in the world.
Yeah,
where a third of the people live under the poverty line. Like,
yeah.
Why are they sending him there? And all because he's been accused of trafficking. Accused, not convicted, just accused. I mean, you could accuse anybody of anything. They can accuse you of anything. We see that happening in Washington.
Yeah.
Good old Judge Jeanine is indicting people in Washington, and the grand jury keeps throwing it out. But she's accusing them, and the grand jury keeps throwing it out. Mm-hmm. So he's not even indicted. He hasn't even been charged. Or maybe he has been charged, but he certainly hasn't been indicted.
Well, I mean, and it's all just, I mean, and here's the thing. It's, this is the stuff you hear about in other countries, Russia and others, right? Where you have this fascist government that just is, as long as you just say that somebody did something, that's all that, there doesn't need to be any evidence really, apparently.
But in Russia, they have show trials. That's the difference.
Right,
in Russia, they have show trials, which we're getting to very soon as they finish stacking the courts, as they already are. Mm-hmm. With their selected judges, but at least they have show trials to go through the joke of convicting you. You're not even having trials here. They're just putting people on planes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hell of a time.
And again, there is a reason why we have asylum laws in this country.
Well, what is it called? The third safe country, right? That we have with Canada. That if there is like a third safe country, I don't know if I'm messing this up. Let me look it up.
I don't know.
There's a thing where people can go, because I keep Googling, can Americans seek asylum in Canada? Because it's just something, I mean, I'm genuinely curious about.
Okay. No, right? Unless there's like some.
Well, I mean, technically yes, but also no. And this is why, because the Safe Third Country Agreement, which I'm going to read, is a bilateral agreement, like one between the United States and Canada, that states asylum seekers must apply for protection in the first safe country they arrive in. Agreements like the one with Paraguay or the EU's Safe Third Country concept aim to ensure that individuals seeking protection go to a country where their life or freedom isn't at risk and where they can apply for asylum. These agreements are designed to deter abuse of the asylum system and share the responsibility of managing migration. So that's kind of like, that's what we do with Canada, apparently. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to remember what happened. Maybe people in the chat know during Vietnam when you had all these people who were going to Canada because they wanted to dodge the draft. I don't think it was all these people. I think it was a small number of people who did that. But were they allowed to stay? Like, what ended up happening? I don't even know.
Somebody pardon them, I thought.
No, they got pardoned, but it was
Yeah.
did Canada let them stay?
I don't know, actually. That's a very, very good question.
Yeah. No, they did get pardoned. I think Jimmy Carter pardoned them. But
yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, everything Rosie, we love you because you're always so wonderful in all these chats. But you just made a really good point, right? Like the only person who's been convicted of any crimes here is Donald J. Trump.
Isn't that something?
Easier to deport him.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You would think so.
I don't know.
I'm pulling some videos here. I was laying in bed, screen recording and screenshotting a bunch of things to play on the show this morning. And then I send them to myself, and I'm just on the note of like Vietnam and people leaving and whatnot. The thing about Vietnam that I know we know, but I don't know if everybody knows, is that it was a war that was fought by working class men. It was not a war that was fought by everyone, like World War II was, or World War I. Vietnam was controversial for all the reasons that we know, but it was the poor man's war. It was the working boys' war.
Well, because you got until the end. After a while, you didn't, but in the beginning, you got student deferments.
Yeah, yeah. Or if your parents paid a doctor to make up a lie that your body has bone spurs, and you don't have to go, like Donald Trump. And so the thing that I'm getting at here is that, and I'm trying to find this picture. I'm gonna have to go back in my phone. They changed the name. Well, I think this was yesterday, right? He signed an executive order changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War.
Okay, I'm going to say something that's super heavy for Saturday, but one of the reasons I couldn't sleep last night is because I was thinking about this. And I just want to say this, and then we don't have to dwell on it if people don't want to dwell on it, because I think it's kind of a lot for a Saturday morning.
Okay.
I think the winds of war are blowing really hard here.
Oh, yeah.
And the Venezuela operation was one, but I think that's not, I'm not so worried that we're going to have a big war with Venezuela. We're going to get mired down for, decades. But what you saw in Beijing, where you have the second largest economy and the most populous nation in the world, China, hosting the world's largest democracy and the second most populous nation in the world, India, which we should never, ever, 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 ever have let go there, in the sense that Trump spent I'm not suggesting Narendra Modi is a good guy, because he's not, but India is strategically, excuse me, so important to us that we should never have allowed that to happen. And by the way, India and China have fought skirmishes and wars for the last X number of decades. So the fact that we're driving the Indians into the arms of the Chinese is a crazy train. And then, of course, Vladimir Putin was there. And then, of course, the Iranians were there. And then, of course, the North Koreans were there, or by North Korea, Jong-un. And so all of these are nuclear powers.
Yep.
Except for Iran, which is not yet a nuclear power. But let's not kid ourselves. It's not like that nuclear program has been set back permanently. And except for Iran, every single person I mentioned represents a nation that is a nuclear power. That's not Venezuela, right? We can go ahead and look at the shiny object with them blowing up extrajudicially Venezuelan boats that they claim, again, without any evidence or providing any evidence, for narco terrorists, whatever the hell that means. But even narco terrorists deserve their day in court.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
They're not terrorists; they're just drug dealers, right?
Right. For the United States military to attack a drug boat from Venezuela is illegal. It's
and
war crime.
And kill them. I mean, yeah. Well, assuming it's a drug boat.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no evidence that it is a drug boat. It very well could be. I'm not suggesting it's not, but where's the evidence? Like, again, that's why we have laws and we don't go off half-cocked and do this. This is not exactly what we did with trying to bomb people in Afghanistan with whom we were at war at the time. Even that was controversial, where we would bomb wedding parties and we would bomb random people. But like, at least there you could say, okay, we're actually in a war with them.
Right.
Or ISIS, which was operating in Iraq, excuse me, where while we still were technically at war in Iraq. But not Venezuela. I mean, what the hell are we doing in Venezuela?
It's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah. And so but Venezuela to me is like it's a diversion, because it's a distraction, because what's really happening right now is, if you know your history, and I think everybody here does, this is so similar to the 1930s, except this time we're not the good guys. Yeah. And when in our lives, I guess since 9/11, really, I haven't felt much like we've been the good guys. But I mean, back then, we were the good guys. Like, there's a reason why superhero Truth, Justice, and the American Way kind of,
Superman. I mean,
was written in the 1930s, right? Because people in this country truly felt like this country was standing up for truth, justice, and democracy. And now we're the bad guys. But it doesn't mean that the other guys are not the bad guys too. And what the hell? Like, I can't even predict to you when war comes, what it's going to come to look like, because whose side are we going to be on?
I think about it. It's like, imagine if Charles Lindbergh had been president instead of Roosevelt. You know what I mean? We would all be having a very different conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a couple screenshots here that I want to throw up on the screen, because you were saying the thing about the 30s, and the irony here, and I don't want to give it away. I hate trying to take screenshots, because what happens is like 9,000 ads then just pop up on my screen, and then I accidentally take a screenshot of like a ad for like a pair of socks or something. It's very annoying. But I want to throw this up here, because a certain someone has also been making that claim that we are living in the most dangerous period. And I'm like, really? Really?
Oh, I didn't really. Oh, really?
Really?
Look who it is. The man that could have stopped it all single-handedly.
Could have stopped
it the man who had Chick-fil-A in Louisville, Kentucky with Scott Jennings, and said the Democrats are going to get that son of a bitch for us, because he was too much of a coward to do it himself as majority leader.
Yeah. And if anybody is just listening to this,
sorry, he was not. But I think what he was too much of a coward to be is to deliver Republican votes, of which he would have needed to deliver not all of them, but a significant amount, to remove Trump from the presidency after Trump tried to murder, Mitch McConnell on January 6th.
Yes. And for anybody at home who is listening and not watching, we are looking at a headline. This is from The Guardian. Trump is president in most dangerous period since Second World War, Mitch McConnell says. Former Senate leader likens administration's fixations with tariffs to isolationist policies of the U.S. in the 1930s. And I'm just like,
don't forget for one moment who has made Donald Trump possible. It's not, people kind of think, oh, McConnell's not MAGA, McConnell's bullshit. Mitch McConnell had his wife serving in Trump's administration, presumably because I think he thought maybe she could be a counterweight to him. Bullshit, because she needed a job.
Yeah.
And Mitch McConnell put all those people on the Supreme Court, every single one.
And more than that, stole seats.
Stole seats that enabled Donald Trump to do whatever he wants without any ramifications, because Trump versus United States, written by John Roberts,
That's
who Mitch
right.
McConnell helped push through, and the rest of them who Mitch McConnell helped push through, allowed that to happen. And now Mitch McConnell is sitting here now that by the way, Mitch McConnell, who's not running for re-election, is still not exactly speaking up and banging the drum about this.
No. This is where I'm like, you have got to be kidding. And then again, Mitch McConnell had polio as a child. He survived polio. He understands the power of vaccines and the danger of not having protection against viruses that can kill you.
He could have whipped against. He didn't vote for Kennedy, but he could have whipped against him.
Absolutely.
And he didn't.
Absolutely.
And he didn't. And what I'm going to say about Mitch McConnell is that Mitch McConnell is the most disgusting person on the Hill because he knows better and he was in a position to do something about it, specifically in the days after January 6th.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And like, there's an article that was written about Mitch McConnell several years ago. I think it was in the New Yorker. And it was a whole profile on Mitch McConnell. And I invite anybody to go back, just Google it, Mitch McConnell, New Yorker. And it's a whole story about like, what does Mitch McConnell believe in? Like, what is his belief system? Like, why is he doing all this? Like, what's the end goal?
Power.
What is it that he wants? And that's literally it.
Power.
It is power at any cost.
Power. But let me tell you something else that Mitch McConnell, people forget this, what Mitch McConnell was obsessed with. The only thing it's in furtherance of power. But when I worked in the Senate, the big thing was McCain-Feingold, which was a campaign finance reform. For a brief shining moment, I forgot if McCain-Feingold, when it passed, I think it passed after I left the Senate. But nevertheless, the trend was towards campaign finance reform. Mitch McConnell was the person single-handedly who fought tooth and nail against any element of campaign finance reform. All he cared about, of course, in furtherance of power, all he cared about was getting rid of McCain-Feingold. All he cared about was getting rid of any semblance of campaign finance reform. Everybody thinks the Supreme Court for him was about abortion, and it was. But more than that, it was about
Citizens United,
which allowed people like Elon Musk to put in, I don't know if he wants to put in $100 billion to elect, Michelle Kinney.
Right. For Peter Thiel to dump $15 million into a super PAC to elect J.D. Vance to the United States Senate, despite not having any qualifications to be a senator or, God forbid, a vice president. And again, here's another thing. And like this, I could go on about this. This is where I'm like, why do we have an FEC even still? Because I don't think that they do anything.
No,
and
they don't even have
you can file FEC complaints against campaigns or things. It's like nobody does anything. And while obviously I've produced and directed, made a lot of ads in the last several years between my time at Seneca Project and before, and we follow the FEC laws. Like we're very, meticulous about what we say, what we do, how we place them, how we file them. Like all of that stuff's very important. However, with the J.D. Vance Senate campaign, the super PAC and the campaign were found to be coordinating, which is against the law. Super PACs and campaigns cannot coordinate. And so I think it was like the super PAC was putting up a bunch of like information that they needed on some like random website that like nobody knew about. And then so the campaign would like pull from it. I think it was Tim Ryan's campaign that realized this, and then it came to light. But again, like nothing happened.
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing happened. Nobody did anything.
And when the FEC does rule, so it'll give, eventually, even if we had a functioning FEC, it would rule in 2 to 3 years, and J.D. Vance would get
it would be right. It would be like
a fine, and J.D. Vance would pay the fine because Peter Thiel would give him the money to pay the fine, and then he'd just we'd move on. I mean, like that's that's what's so gross about this whole thing, and what's so gross about this whole thing with Mitch McConnell is that that's all this has all been about, and he couldn't care less if Donald Trump burned down the Capitol, which he almost did, as long as he had an R after his name. It is all tribal politics.
Yep.
It's all tribal politics.
Which, that is human nature. I mean, human nature is
You know,
people separate themselves off into tribes. I mean, that's
not
just,
everybody. Look at Tara. I mean, great example. She was a
yeah.
Republican.
Of course, there's some
Yeah,
that don't, and all my
yeah,
former colleagues over
yeah,
at LP, but like, it's, you know,
yeah.
I, and I listen, I love Tara, and this is not directed towards her, but it's frustrating, and as I'm sure it is for you too, that I'm like, this is what it took. Not for her, but like all the Never Trumper movement. I was like, it was Trump that made them see the light. And thank God, and then I think that opened the door into being like, oh my God, but
I want to actually talk about, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, like this whole rehabilitation of George W. Bush. Speaking of now, speaking of like, why did it take Trump? Because
that guy.
George W. Bush all of a sudden is like, his daughter's done a lot to rehabilitate him because, oh, look at Jenna, and she's such a
I mean, like listen, Jenna
like,
and Barbara, I think are great, but
yeah. My point is like, she's done a lot to rehabilitate him because she's kind of made him into like my dad, my nice dad.
like humanized him into like being
Yeah, and now he's a
weirdo.
painter, and he's kind of hanging around with Michelle Obama, and
Right,
he's
the hugs at the
yeah,
thing, and then
and
the Ellen DeGeneres thing, and
yeah,
like,
and the truth of the matter is, George Bush caused this.
Yeah.
George Bush caused this.
And Dick Cheney.
Yeah, caused it. And I don't understand. Like, I don't know why it took Donald Trump, because George Bush got us into all these wars for no fucking reason. Sorry, Dad. I was there 9/11 in Washington, so I can tell you that within 2 hours, when I was evacuated with the Senate, and the head of the Senate, the head of the Capitol Police came in to brief us, and he said, we're within 2 hours. I think we all know who did this, and time will tell, but we're all almost 100% positive we know who did this. They know Osama bin Laden did this. You know how they know he did this? Because they knew he was going to do it. And Bush did nothing about it.
I invite everyone, you know what, and this is what I'm going to, because for anybody here that doesn't already subscribe to Seneca Project, we have a newsletter we put out every Wednesday, and I have a little thing that's called Fuel for the Fight, Michelle's Fuel for the Fight, and I recommend podcasts, books, movies, series, things like that to watch. And Looming Tower is the story of the FBI, not like in that chain of communication that was broken between the FBI and the CIA, and the years and years and years that led up to 9/11. And all it was what the USS Cole. There was like all these things that were going on. They were tracking these guys. We don't know what's going on. And there were people who knew that this was going to happen. And I can't remember his name. There were two guys at the FBI specifically. One of them died in the towers, funny enough. I mean, not funny, but ironically, because he ended up leaving the FBI and then like went to go run security at the Twin Towers. And like that was his job. And the other one, I can't remember his name. It's a little shorter guy. But anyways, the two of them, they were the ones like with the flashing lights being like, hello, hello, hello. And so the second that it happened, everybody knew who it was.
Of course. But the reason I bring up Bush is, why don't you put down your fucking paintbrushes, Mr. President? Get out of boating up in Maine in the summers and hanging out at your ranch down in Texas in the winters.
Yeah.
And speak up. Speak the fuck.
This is the problem, that like the Bush family is similar to the Kennedys in that they don't speak up about each other. They don't speak up on things that I mean, a lot of times, I think the Bushes, they hate Trump, obviously, but they wouldn't say anything because Jeb was going to run, or they wouldn't run because Jeb's son was going to run. Or it's like
that, Michelle. I think it's just that they were raised like these Brahmins who are like, it's just not done. This is not, the former president never criticizes the sitting president. It's just not done. You serve your time and then it's just not done. Like, it's not done.
Yeah. Just really quick in the chat, I'm seeing somebody said, because I was trying to remember what character died. And the person who played that character was Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels, the actor.
Yeah.
And someone said Jeff Daniels died, trying to like say that that's who it was. And so everyone in the chat is like, oh my God, Jeff Daniels died. No, he did not. He is very much alive. I don't want anyone to freak out. It's just the character that he was playing. So anyways, and character who was a real person. As everyone's like, oh my God, you scared me. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, but going back to Bush, like, speak up.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit that it's not done. You know what else isn't done? The subversion of American democracy that's happening every day, but it's happening.
Well, then the Patriot Act, right? I mean, the Patriot Act, which was like hugely controversial,
It's
right?
allowing all this to happen now.
Which is allowing all this to happen now, which leads me to this piece of information that is being reported on now. Ronan Farrow, has been reporting on cybercrime and cyber security for many years, but many people have, including your friend Olga,
Yep.
who we love and we think I think is going to come over and do some stuff with us over at Mayday. We're very excited about that. So I just want to, full disclosure, she has reported on this prior. But there is a spyware firm out of Israel that is able to hack into our phones, even into the encrypted apps. So, like if we use WhatsApp, Signal, anything like that, they're able to still go in and hack this stuff. And governments in Europe have been hiring this firm and having contracts with them. Now, ICE, back during the Biden administration, was trying to do a $2 million contract with this group, and Biden stopped it. Obviously, now that is no longer the case. So I do just want to play this clip by Ronan Farrow, if you don't mind,
Sure.
that gives a little bit of an explanation as to what this is and how it's going to affect us.
Spyware that can break into your phone without you clicking a link or a file or doing anything at all. Just getting a message can be enough. Once your phone is infected, your data, even messages on encrypted apps, can be read and copied. That kind of spyware, using what's called zero-click exploits, is a reality. In fact, it's a booming multi-billion-dollar industry. I'm Ronan Farrow. I've reported on spyware for years. Let me tell you about the newest US government contract to buy this kind of tech and why watchdog groups are alarmed. The spyware is called Graphite, a tool from an Israeli company, Paragon Solutions, founded by a former prime minister and military intelligence veterans. Earlier this year, Apple had to rush out an emergency patch after investigators at the Canadian watchdog group Citizen Lab found graphite had been used in Europe to hack journalists. Also this year, WhatsApp warned nearly 90 people worldwide they'd been hacked. In 2024, I was one of several reporters that looked at how ICE had quietly signed a $2 million contract with Paragon, reportedly to use graphite. That work was paused by the Biden administration over human rights concerns. But just days ago, the Trump administration lifted the pause. Now, sometimes I hear people argue, if I have nothing to hide, why should I worry about this? Well, because spyware has a long history of being used to target journalists, activists, and political opposition members. Innocent bystanders sometimes get their sensitive data swept up too. Watchdog groups have even repeatedly linked spyware to acts of violence. I have sources around this company, Paragon. They claim their tech is less intrusive than competing solutions, and they say they're just selling law enforcement tools to governments and trying to minimize abuses. Paragon even told Arets that it actually cut ties with the Italian government after it failed to investigate Citizen Lab's findings. But the truth is, sensitive surveillance tools rarely stay limited to their intended targets. I have heard so many big spyware companies claim to me that their tech can be restricted to legitimate use, and time again we see those same tools abused. In practice, spyware chills free speech, discourages whistleblowers, makes journalists and even everyday people think twice before speaking out, especially when we have no transparency about how a government will or won't use it. Civil liberties groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Technology are warning. Giving ICE, an agency already accused of due process abuses, access to military-grade spyware could mean surveillance of immigrants, activists, and journalists here at home. You can check out more of my reporting on the spyware industry in The New Yorker, or watch my film about it, Surveilled, on HBO. And if you want oversight and safeguards on how this technology is used, you can contact your political representatives.
Don't bother contacting your political representatives.
Yeah, they're not going to do shit.
They're not going to do shit, and they don't even understand what's happening.
No, well, I think that is even a bigger problem because we have so many people in Congress who have no idea how the internet works. Exhibit A, how they question members of the tech industry when
Oh my
they
God,
come
do you
in.
remember that? That was
Oh my God, it
embarrassing.
was like so awful. I can't even think about it. But and that's to another conversation where I think that you and I should talk, and maybe we can have Denver Riggleman on and talk about like the situation going on in the Democratic Party right now, where like we have people who are like 95 years old being like, I'm not going to retire, and like this is a problem for this reason, for another reason, because of this kind of stuff. Like this is happening. And, this in conjunction with Palantir, which is the company that is owned by and invested with Peter Thiel and the other guy with the crazy hair. Palantir has all this information. They have signed a huge contract with the Defense Department or Department of War or whatever it's called now, that we're going to get into that too. Health data, tax information, everything about you. The government is going to be able to use AI and this company Palantir and all this stuff to enable them to find out things about all of us within seconds.
Mm-hmm. And they have our social security number.
Yes.
I mean, everybody thinks Doge was about cost cutting. It wasn't.
It was a cyber act.
It was a cyber crime. It was a cyber crime. That's what it was. They have all of our health data. They have all of our financial data. They have our tax returns. They have our social security numbers. I mean, you're consistently told to safeguard your social security number, with like your cold dead hands, right? You're only allowed to put in your last 4 digits of your social because the rest of it is so top secret.
And think about all the places you do that. Mm-hmm. Banking, when you go to the doctor, if you're seeing a new doctor for the first time, like they ask for all that information. Like every time you have to put in the last 4 digits of your social, that is another place where they can track your every move.
Yeah. And I mean, don't forget, Obamacare did something very good, but I think that in retrospect, it's a little bit frightening, which is that they digitalized all of our medical records in order to make it more efficient, in order to save money, in order to provide better care.
Yeah.
But imagine if you are somebody who lives in Texas and you got an abortion at some point in your life.
Oh, yeah.
They know it now.
And this is where I implore people. And obviously, we all use Signal. Like I use Signal in my personal life and at work too. Journalists use it because it's encrypted. Obviously, this situation with Paragon like kind of changes that a little bit, but at least it's another layer of protection of hacking and things like that. But this is why I tell my friends who live in Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, places like this, I was like, do not even text about your menstrual cycle. Do not text to your friend. And this is unfortunately the country we live in now. Do not even text your friend, oh, I've got my period, I've got cramps, blah, blah, blah. Don't even say it. Find a code word for it, something else, because that is the kind of stuff that they're going to be looking for.
Yeah.
That is the stuff. And like at Peter Thiel, again, has invested in these period tracking apps. I used to use one. I used the one through Apple forever because it's just, again, like if you're a woman and these are, it just makes life a little easier to like know and track. And especially if you're dealing with fertility things, like these are the things you want to keep track of. But unfortunately now we have to do these things on paper. We can't do them through our phones anymore. I mean, you can, but you're making yourself very vulnerable.
Yeah, Dickerson Designs, I think, and Flow's a little bit. I think they're going to figure that one out.
Yeah, anti-flow might be. Yeah. They might be that one. Go to the search terms in the AI, but
I think that one's a little bit. I don't think they're being
or lady times.
Yeah, I don't think they're being really sleuty with that one. God. Michelle B. but texts about hot flashes all the time. Amen. Just do that. Yep. I got that, Buzz. But it's just, look, you guys, this is like, it happened really quickly.
Because everything was in place. And I mean, and this is where like the tech guys, and it's funny because do you watch The Gilded Age? We've talked about this.
Yes.
Okay. My parents just started watching it too. And I'm like, I'm obsessed. I love it.
We don't want to give it away because Mr. and Mrs. Kinney might be watching it.
Oh yeah. So I'm not, no plot points here, but The Gilded Age was a name that Mark Twain came up with, right? As kind of like a tongue-in-cheek satirical way of describing that period in history where everything looked really nice on the outside, right? Like the gold plated stuff, but inside it was shit. And that's what the Gilded Age was. There was this huge wealth inequality. You had these people with like so much money and so much wealth, but everybody else in the country was suffering. And we are coming upon that time again. And that is what the tech industry, instead of industry like the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the families who built the railroads and drilled oil, we're dealing with tech now. And these people have a lot more control over individual lives. And we rely on it so much that, we're living in a different world. So Donald Trump yesterday hosted all the people in tech, all the big wigs in tech at the White House yesterday. And they all sat at this table and they had this little big performative, discussion. And I don't know if you caught this, Julie, but there was a hot mic moment with Mark Zuckerberg. Did you see this? Okay.
I did.
So just so everybody knows what we're about to see, it was Mark Zuckerberg's time to talk. And he, says something about money or whatever. And then he goes to check with dear leader, his boss, Donald Trump, to see if what he said was okay.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to do for announcement. He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
I wasn't sure what number to go with. I hope that was okay. So they rehearsed their lines ahead of time.
I mean, it's embarrassing. And somebody in the chat said, at least in the Gilded Age, all of their problems revolved around whether Mrs. Astor was going to invite them to a party.
Yes, right, right.
Here, it's whether the president of the United States is okay with what they're saying. Now, if you're Tim Cook, right, for example, in Apple, you don't want, right. Like, but I get why he's doing what he's doing, because Trump.
I mean, I don't, because he doesn't need to be there.
Well, but I'll tell you this, Tim Cook. This is in defense of Tim Cook. Listen, by the way, this is how democracy dies. I'm not suggesting that this is not a crisis.
He said thank you 8 times in like 2 minutes.
Because Tim Cook sources all of his products for Apple from abroad, specifically places like China, Vietnam, and others. And if Apple is not excluded from tariffs, the prices of cell phones and tablets and MacBooks and everything else are going to go up exponentially. So for Tim Cook, this is a huge business decision. And Trump has basically said that, yes, indeed, because Tim Cook has been sucking up to him and kissing his ass, that he's going to exclude Apple products from tariffs.
Right.
And that's why Tim Cook is doing what he's doing. But understand what this is. This is truly the definition of crony capitalism. This is truly because I'll tell you who's not getting their products sourced, excluded from tariffs. The person who's a small business owner who's selling, little tchotchkes on the street.
There's a bunch of countries now that won't even ship to the United States anymore.
Yeah. Well, Lind.
Yeah, and the trickling down of, you want to talk about trickle down economics. I mean, like that's it. I mean, and like, listen. I mean, it's just. I said this yesterday. We did a live yesterday. Like these people became who they became because this country is so great, or was so great. Had this booming middle class and people who had the ability to buy things. And when we have people in this country, the amount of people applying for home loans is now worse than during 2008.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very concerned, as we all should be. And it's just, and I watched this stuff, and there's this great book, Careless People. It's the whistleblower book from the woman who worked at Facebook.
Yes.
For Meta.
Yes.
And I, again, encourage everyone. It is such a good book. And she's actually like very funny. But this young woman went to go work for Meta. She actually like banged their door down. And this was early on, because she worked in like diplomacy and she knew a lot about that world. And she's like, you guys are going to need this. because, and she could see in her mind down the road, Meta or Facebook, which it was Facebook at the time, is going to become like a country. And you're going to have to be doing business with all of these countries, and you're going to need somebody to help you with that.
Yep.
And they all thought she was crazy. But eventually they saw that she was right. And then she had too much on her plate. And she said for the longest time, like, Mark Zuckerberg wanted nothing to do. He didn't want to talk to the press. And that's where Sheryl Sandberg kind of came in, and she was the face of the company. He wanted to be in the back room coding with all the nerds, until he started to see the attention that he could get when he saw what other world leaders, like the kind of attention that they were getting. And he was like, oh, that could be me. And it was only then that Mark Zuckerberg started participating in this stuff and started traveling around the world with his little, entourage and meeting with world leaders. And that's how we have gotten to this point. And I mean, there's even like a little part in the book where I think they were like in Indonesia or something like that. They were on this Asia tour. And she said that they were all sitting around because Mark Zuckerberg loves to play board games. And they were all sitting around playing board games. And she was like being competitive, like playing with him. And everybody was looking at her like she had 5 heads, like, you need to stop this. And she was like, what? And someone said, you let Mark win.
You know why?
You weren't allowed to let Mark Zuckerberg win a board game.
Because Mark Zuckerberg has been Mark Zuckerberg since the age of like 20.
He is a loser.
But that's well, he's not a loser because he's done very well.
Though. I mean, he started Facebook because his girlfriend broke up with him, and he wanted to rate girls on the Harvard campus, whether they were hot or not. And that's how Facebook started.
But my point is, Mark Zuckerberg became very rich very quickly and very powerful very quickly.
Yeah.
Because everybody, starting with Harvard, wanted to be rated well on.
And Peter Thiel was one of the original investors.
But I think I just see in the chat, Kay Fitzgerald, you heard ABC News said house mortgages are down this morning. Worse than the 2008 crash. Worse than in 2008. I just want people to understand. Mortgages
there are more houses than buyers.
Yes, mortgages are down worse than in 2008.
Yep.
And we have had in June, after the revised numbers came down, we talked about this yesterday.
Probably luck dragon. Probably. Oh, well.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Michelle, you're going to get shadow banned on Instagram.
Oh, well. No one will see the pictures of my cat. Oh, no.
But, the problem here is that the economy he inherited a good economy from Biden. If he had done nothing at all, he would have skated it for a while. But the reason the economy sucks right now is purely because businesses can't make decisions based on tariffs because they don't know if the tariffs are coming or going, which countries are going to be tariffed. He changes his mind every 5 seconds. Is Apple going to get an exclusion? Is somebody else going to get an exclusion? Are steel tariffs coming in? Are they coming in from China? Are they coming in from India? Like crazy, right? He's using tariffs. Now we're tariffing Brazil because he's not happy with their president. Or their courts, not even their president, prosecuting their Donald Trump equivalent, who should be prosecuted, Joao Bolsonaro. So, I mean, the point is, everything is a whim. You can't base your economic projections on a whim. And I go back to, what was that quote? It was like in January, February, some anonymous asshole on Wall Street saying things are great now. We could say the word pussy out loud and nobody's gonna stop us. Okay, but like that quote is stuck with me forever because
really, I know that's what this is all about.
But wait a second, really? Are things that good for you? Because the market's tanking and it's going to tank even further. We're in stagflation. Inflation's up. Unemployment's up. We're in a recession, whether you want to admit it or not. We're headed there. You can't write mortgages, which means that you can't package them into junk bonds anymore.
Right.
And sell.
And this Genius Act that they passed that has to do with crypto and whatnot, like completely unregulated, Wild West kind of stuff that
so my point is but at least you could say the P word now. Congratulations, Wall Street. Like, congratulations, stupid 30-year-old trader, which is exactly what this guy probably was, some hedge fund guy or some trader, some guy in some trading desk, Goldman or somewhere.
Right.
Great. I'm glad. But you know what? That expense account you used to get to take your clients out till 5 o'clock in the morning and go to strip clubs with them, that's going to be cut next year. So's your bonus.
Oh yeah.
So's your town car that's going to take you. You're going to have to take the subway back, my man, or take a cab back at 3 o'clock.
You're going to have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, I mean, you know this, the people at home, I don't know. I worked at a hedge fund for 2 years. In between careers when I was trying to figure out what I was doing in my life. And I had a friend who was the office manager of a hedge fund, and she was like, we need help in admin. I was like, sure. And I remember having to go through the bills. Like I would have to go through the bills and like allocate a lot of stuff and like file them away. And I would see where people were taking their cars and the addresses like at night, you know, and I would like put it in thing like, because they wouldn't always write their name like on what the bill, and I would have to go around and like find out who this was. And so I would see the addresses, and it was like sometimes it was like, you know, hustlers. Things like that.
That's where you take their clients. That's not.
Yeah, I know.
They're encouraged to take their clients there.
Mm-hmm.
They're encouraged to take their clients there, and it's gross. And it's like, you know,
it is gross. It is gross. And my husband works in finance now. Yeah. He's a lawyer, but he helps. He does banking regulatory law, so he, you know, tries to keep them in line, tell them that what they can and cannot do. But it's, you know, it's a lot of those kinds of guys that talk like that exist in that world, and I do not like it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pulling up this quote because I think it's just so important. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. This is from the Financial Times. This was on January 14th. Mm-hmm. So in advance of Trump's election, they're celebrating. Companies are doing away with diversity, equity, inclusion programs, cutting support for racial diversity charities, and dropping out of climate action groups. They're also clearing anything that could be seen as quote unquote woke from public statements, corporate documents, and advertising. Some CEOs have been emboldened to speak out in favor of conservative policies such as tax cuts and traditional gender roles. To some on Wall Street, the shift is a fresh breath air. Bankers and financiers are say that Trump's victory has empowered those who felt they had to self-censor or change their language to avoid offending younger colleagues, women, minorities, or disabled people. Quote, I feel liberated, said a top banker. We can say retard and pussy without the fear of getting canceled. It's a new dawn.
Oh my God.
Well, my man, what do you think it's like now? What do you think it's like now? Did you think the economy was going to boom while you were sitting there driving women and people of color out of the banks? Because between that and the fact that Trump is back in charge and tariffs are kicking in and jobs are hemorrhaging and every sector except the healthcare industry is tanking and inflation is rising and the market's about to tank really hard, guess what's happening? But at least you could say pussy and retard again.
I mean, I'm happy for them, really. It's what they fought for. And I want to play is because speaking of the woke thing, again, like this is all like at the heart of all this. Yes, it's money and power, but there is that aspect of like, we want to be able to say those bad words and we don't want Black people here and we don't want white people here. And like, you know, my mom sent me, what's that?
We're women. They don't want women around.
Women. I mean, absolutely. Hold on. Is this? Yeah, here it is. Hold on. Let me get this here. Where is it? Screen share. Here we go. I'm just gonna play this. This is what Donald Trump said in the Oval Office yesterday as they were signing the executive order to turn the Department of Defense into the Department of War.
We should have won every war. We could have won every war, but we really chose to be very politically correct or wokey, and we just fight forever. And then we'd, win. We wouldn't lose, really. We just fight to sort of tie. We never wanted to win wars that every one of them we would have won easily with just a couple of little changes or a couple of little edicts. I was told that ISIS would take 5 years to win. And Dan Kane, when I told him how long would it take, he said, I think about 4 weeks, sir. I said, what do you mean 4 weeks? I was told 5 years by the people in Washington. You know who they were? 5 years. I said, you can't do it in 4 weeks. I actually back. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Very well said.
he's just to reiterate here. He said we should have won every war. We could have won every war, but we really chose to be a very politically correct wokey. We never wanted to win.
Well, let me tell you who was so wokey that he changed the name of the Department of War to the Department of Defense. That would be World War I veteran Harry S. Truman, who enlisted in World War I at the age of 33 because he was too old to get drafted and he wanted to fight. He was so wokey that he dropped 2 bombs on Japan, 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. He was so wokey that he went to war in Korea.
Wokey. I just.
You know who else was wokey and kept that name? His successor, Dwight D. Eisenhower. The man who commanded D-Day.
Stormed the beaches.
Commanded D-Day was so wokey. The man who effectively won the Western Front in World War II was so wokey that he kept that name. You know who else kept that name? John F. Kennedy, who served as a PT boat captain in World War II. But Captain Bone Spurs, he's not wokey.
Well, this is what's getting me.
Keg Breath, who can't do a pull-up, also is not wokey. So those 2 idiots are going to be telling us that we're going to go to war. This is what I said originally. They're ginning us up to go to war.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so Homeland Security tweeted this out. I mean, this
is
was
not the real Homeland Security. It's a fan.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Gavin Newsom, thank you because I thought it was.
No.
And this is the problem with Twitter and like the stupid blue check is you think everything with a blue check is real and it's not. And you have to like triple check. But either way, this was circulating yesterday, the wartime president thing. So Gavin Newsom's account quote tweeted this. And this is what Donald Trump said in January of this year. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker. And then this was up. The White House tweeted this out. The Department of War, America First, Peace Through Strength. Sean Parnell, if you want peace, prepare for war. Let me say that again. If you want peace, prepare for war. And then this is House Republicans, the Department of War. And then this is Pete Hegseth tweeting yesterday, back to work. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War.
He hasn't been working?
Apparently not.
Well, you know what it is, Michelle? I look at all this and
it's like G.I. Joe. Like this is the thing. I was like, they're like, this is like playtime. That's
exactly what I was going to say.
It's all happening on TV.
You know those
like
little
reality
girls,
show.
Those little girls that play house.
Yes.
And they're like, this is my husband and these are my kids, and
and I'm gonna make some spaghetti for dinner with my Fisher Price.
Like fake kitchen. These are grown men in position of immense power playing house, except they're playing war.
G.I. Joe.
They're playing G.I. Joe.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right. A power press are worse than useless. They're just, the press is like, oh, okay, it's semantics. It's not semantics. Listen, there's one thing Donald Trump is really good at. He's really good at marketing. Because what he does is first he markets and then he convinces people that his marketing is reality. And if you grew up in New York City like Michelle and I did, or around New York City as Michelle and I did, you know exactly what that meant. That guy was broke off his ass in the 80s and 90s and yet positioned himself as a billionaire. He was broke again and got everybody in America to believe when he was on The Apprentice that he actually was a successful businessman. So, and then he became one because he monetized The Apprentice to become successful, right? And then he monetized the presidency to become even richer. He is now manifesting through his marketing a war. So this is not just marketing. This is him giving us notice of what is coming.
Yep. They always tell us what they're going to do. They always tell us.
Yeah. And so I don't want everybody to go away on Saturday morning being like, oh my God, I need to put my head in the oven. But the reality is like, they are telling us, please don't. But they're telling us what's about to happen. They are preparing for war. And the only question to me is, who are we going to war with? They have already decided they're going to declare war. Because he doesn't want to talk about Epstein. He doesn't want to talk about the economy. He knows that the way that wait a second, he knows the way this country got out of the Great Depression was because of World War II, right? You need a wartime economy to get yourself out of a bad economic situation. And that is what we're gearing up for here. Everything else sucks for him. Epstein sucks. The economy sucks.
His health sucks.
His health sucks. He's got to change the subject. He's got to change the subject. And I remember so well in the days leading up to 9/11, because I was living in Washington and working in the Hill at the time.
This time, 24 years ago.
Exactly. You know what was going on in September 6, 2001 in Washington? What everybody was obsessed about? Do you remember Chandra Levy?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that scandal?
Yeah. Yeah.
He had an affair with, I forgot the Republican member of Congress from, I think, Washington.
Yeah.
Whose name I can't remember. That was the biggest thing happening in Washington. That is all anybody talked about.
She was presumed murdered after her skeletal. Oh, that's terrible. Rock Creek Park.
She was a Rock Creek Park. She was an intern working for, I forgot.
The FBI. No, sorry. That is completely wrong. Don't listen to me.
She worked for a member of Congress.
Yeah, I saw American intern at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Not that. Different. That's what it says.
She was, hold on, Gary Condit. She worked for in May 2001, I'm looking this up right now. Gary Condit was a congressman. I forgot what he represented. I think he represented.
I'm seeing it now. Yeah.
He represented California, right? And he was a Republican congressman, and Gary Condit apparently had an affair with his intern Chandra Levy, and then she disappeared. She went running and never returned. And for, I think, years later, they found her remains in Rock Creek Park in Washington. But for months, this happened in May of 2001.
Yeah.
From May 2001 until September 11th, 2001, all anybody in Washington was talking about was what happened between her and Gary Condit. What was this affair about? It was very Epstein-esque. It was very much like all focusing on Epstein right now.
And it looks like the reason she was in DC, she had become a paid intern with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And then she began her internship where she was assigned to the Public Affairs Division. And that's how, like, all, and this is how you meet people in Washington.
Well, the point is, that's all anybody, that's not even irrelevant what happened to her, other than it was very salacious. And that's all, it was like the best gossip. Like, everybody's like, did they have an affair? Did he do it? Did he kill her? Did he have her killed because she got too clingy? Because I think he was married. Like, it was
right. And she was so young. I mean,
she was very young. It was like a Monica Lewinsky thing. Not long after Monica, like, everybody was just obsessed about it. And that's all anybody in the press talked about. That's all anybody on the Hill talked about. That's all these members of Congress were gossiping about. I'm telling you, I was there. I remember this so well. And then 9/11 happened, and it wiped off any discussion of Chandra Levy. And her poor parents were devastated for a number of reasons, not the least of which is they really were hoping that the attention was going to bring some revelation about who killed her and what happened. And of course, 9/11.
Did they ever, do you know, was there ever any answers there?
I think I could be totally wrong about this. I think, unfortunately, she just went jogging in Rock Creek Park and I think a hobo or somebody just killed her. But the point is, this was like the topic of discussion. We're now here on September 6th. 2025, 24 years later, and it feels very similar. And Donald Trump is going to want a change. And I'm not suggesting Bush obviously had anything to do with Gary Condit or wanting a change in topics.
Right.
But this whole, like, Secretary of War thing, it's leading up to something, because nothing else is going well for him. And he's going to want to rally his base around the flag, because the base is starting to depart. The base is having problems with.
Well, and this is where I'm confused, Julie, because the base, a lot of them are very isolationist. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson.
They're first and foremost, what are they without MAGA? Right? Like, think about this. All the people who talked about Jeffrey Epstein, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, every single member on the Hill, every single one was a MAGA person who was talking about it ad nauseum. There's only four that did the right thing. Thomas Massey. I can't believe I'm naming these names.
I know.
Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Nancy Mace,
and Nancy Mace. I mean, God help me. I cannot believe I'm getting this credit. That's it. That's it. And you saw how fast all of them piped down when Trump told them to pipe down. They were all banging the drum this summer at CPAC and at all these other conferences. No more. Fox, wall-to-wall coverage on Epstein. I can't believe they're not releasing this. All of a sudden, not one word. They are nothing without Trump. They are nothing without MAGA.
No. And that's why, I mean,
and again, I'll tell you, Fox, isolationist, not isolationist, nobody bangs the drum harder for war than Rupert Murdoch. And I was there.
Well, yeah, there's a clip. I think I screen recorded. I think I forgot to crop it, so I apologize. But this is Pete Hegseth on Fox News after this name change with his colleagues and friends talking about
We won World War I and we won World War II.
Oh wait, this is the video.
Not with the Department of Defense, but with a War Department.
We're focusing our military on its core mission, crushing America's adversaries.
I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's annoying, but and this is where this White House actually, and I say this again as someone who does this for a living, they have gotten very, very good at production. Very good. And although that was a little janky in my opinion, that video in particular, but doesn't matter. People will watch. Right. People will watch that and they're going to get all like drummed up and get America. And they put this out too. This video. Oops. Sorry, let me do that again. That is a video of Pete Hegseth firing a weapon from the Defense Department Rapid Response Twitter account. Again, puffing their chests. And I'll say, if you want peace, prepare for war. Tweeted out by Sean Parnell, retweeted by Pete Hegseth. And this is and then they couldn't wait. Again, the theater, the reality TV of it all. They were taking down the letters, Secretary of Defense letters coming down at the Pentagon. And this is like a 2-minute video with this guy who works there, I don't know, doing what, taking the letters off the wall in this kind of performative, stupid way. And all I could think of was the stupid military parade with this and I'm like, same.
That looks like a lame 4th of July parade on Main Street.
Same energy. Same. Yeah. And Adam Kinzinger tweeted this out, and I saw this. Paul McCleary, per White House, legally, it is still the Department of Defense. The Department of War is a secondary title.
They need Congress to change the name, but they're going to
go with the nickname. And so Adam Kinzinger was like laughing and saying, "Still DOD," which it is. And here's the thing too: there are 700,000, almost 1 million SEALs of the Defense Department that exist around the world, and all 700,000 of them are going to need to be changed. That is going to cost millions of dollars to change a name on a stupid thing, on a stupid SEAL. It is so dumb. The whole thing is so dumb. And it's embarrassing because again, like, we are supposed to be the country of example, and we have become a joke. And to your point about India, China, North Korea, Russia, our diplomacy that has been going on, Iran, the diplomacy that the United States has been trying to do and lean into with India for decades, for several administrations now.
Bush's credit, Bush started it.
Yes. Yeah. And that was
the entire century, 25 years of
right.
Of them.
And Donald Trump is so obsessed with getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and he wanted to take credit for that ceasefire. And because of that, pissed people off, and now has pushed India into the arms of our adversaries. And that is why this has happened. And like same with, and the story has just come out in the last day about North Korea, this botched operation that Donald Trump greenlit back in 2018 because they wanted to put, it was very risky. They wanted to put a listening device near Kim Jong-un during their nuclear negotiations. The Navy SEALs went in, thought they were getting caught, shot up a boat of fishermen. They were all, innocent civilians, killed a bunch of North Koreans, then left the whole thing. And then after that, the talks and diplomacy with North Korea fell apart. Donald Trump never briefed Congress about this. And here we are in 2025, just learning about this for the first time. Again, another diplomacy failure from Donald Trump because he's over his skis and he only cares about himself. And same with this thing in Venezuela, like all of it. Like he is so obsessed with getting credit for things and Nobel Prizes and all this stuff. That's all that matters. He doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't give a shit. Not at all. And I know for the average person, it's really hard to wrap your mind around someone being that awful, but he is.
Andy Ostroy and I did a Substack Live yesterday, which I know you watched.
It was very good.
Yeah, he raised a really excellent point, which is we're all sitting here psychoanalyzing Trump.
Yeah.
As though we're our own, as though he's normal. He's not normal. Like we need to stop psychoanalyzing him like you would psychoanalyze somebody who's a friend of yours or somebody who's not I don't have any training to psychoanalyze anybody, period, no matter how mentally healthy they are. But I certainly don't have the ability to psychoanalyze anybody who's that mentally depraved. And he is. He's just, and he's sick and he's angry and he's fueled by anger and grievance. And he's empty otherwise. Even his children, he thinks his sons are losers.
Oh, absolutely.
The only reason he loves Ivanka is because he thinks she's hot. And therefore, that's a reflection on him for producing such a hot daughter.
Yep.
Never mind that it's really plastic surgeon that produced most of her hotness.
Yeah, she does not look like that. She's a cute little girl, but doesn't look like her.
That's not her.
No.
But
I know. It's and that's another reason why, if you're going to go after somebody like Donald Trump, try to hold him accountable, you have to follow through because he's a psychopath and he is fueled on vengeance and retribution. And because we didn't follow through and because Merrick Garland completely dropped the ball and the Justice Department completely dropped the ball and they did not follow through, we are now left with what we have. Again, Mitch McConnell could have done something. He didn't follow through. He thought there would be some other way that
everybody always thought somebody else was going to stop Donald Trump. Mitch McConnell thought the Democrats would do it. Merrick Garland thought somebody else would do it because he didn't want to get his hands dirty going after a former president because it's not done. And God forbid somebody would accuse him of weaponizing the Justice Department. What kind of precedent would that set? Really? What kind of precedent was that set? Would that set? You're watching it now.
Yep. And
they're going to go after Merrick Garland.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I'm going to be like, what did you expect? This is who he has told us who he is his whole life. He told us what he was going to do. I am your retribution. That his whole campaign was built around this. And they're coming for you, or they're going through me, or whatever it is that he said. This is the whole thing. And A Power asked Mary Trump. Yes, Mary Trump sits on the advisory board for the Seneca Project. We talk to her often.
We'll have her on when we do it. Right now, we're
absolutely.
as soon as we do a hard launch in the next month, so we'll have her on.
Yeah. And Mary, she talked about this all the time. She grew up in the same family. They all are wired the same way. Fortunately, Mary is not. I mean, she understands it. And she's also a psychiatrist. She has a PhD. And I'm sure, part of the reason she wanted to do that was to kind of figure out where she came from. Because I think that's what we all are trying to figure out in our lives. But, the story of her family is particularly peppered with awfulness and, and what happened to her father. And the way that her side of the family was treated by Donald Trump. It's like how anyone is surprised. That's the thing. It's like, I can't believe this is happening. What do you mean you can't believe? What do you mean you can't believe this? everything is believable about what's happening. You know what I mean? Like I just, for anybody to be surprised at this point. And I know it's like, oh, well, we're all supposed to welcome these people who are realizing this for the first time. We're supposed to welcome them in.
I'll welcome them in.
I guess, but like, can I also say, maybe just shut up and listen to us now, like, because we've been saying this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll welcome them in. I'm just going to say this. I understand times were tough last year. I understand people are living hand to mouth. I understand things were expensive. I understand all of that. I understand that you thought you were voting for a guy who was going to bring you a better economy because the first time around the economy was pretty good.
Right.
But listen, open the fucking newspaper, my friends. He told us what he was going to do from day one. He said he was going to bring in tariffs. I mean, it was not a surprise, right? Like,
yeah,
he said that he was going to do everything he did to do away with democracy.
Yep.
Like, if the economy is your priority, did you really think that Donald Trump was going to deliver a good economy for you?
Right. For you.
With tariffs?
Right. And to the point that I made yesterday is like when people realized that you didn't need democracy to have capitalism. Look at China. But does China have a thriving middle class? No. Like, so the economy will be good for some people, but not for everybody. For the vast majority of people in this country, it will be bad. It will be bad for everyone except for like the 1% of people on top.
Yeah. I mean, look.
If that, probably less than that.
Donald Trump, you have to look at Vladimir Putin. He is going to want a piece of every single industry, every single company to whom he's going to give his blessings. We just, again, where's the media on this? They kind of went away on this.
This is communism.
A 10% stake in Intel, the largest American chip maker. And he's yelling about Zohran Mamdani in New York wanting to open up a couple of city-run grocery stores. Dumb idea. I'm not suggesting what Mamdani is
not in favor.
It's only going to put bodegas and others out of business, and grocery stores operate on the margins, and they're not going to make
also a profit. Grocery stores already receive government assistance. But anyways, that's not the point.
The point is, like, that's socialism, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
That is socialism.
Mm-hmm.
That was late stage Soviet Union. Private partnerships.
Right. And that's how the oligarchs came to be.
But the United States, exactly. The United States has a 10% stake in Intel, which means they're the largest single shareholder, which means that they're going to determine who's on the board, and they're going to determine who the next CEO is, which means that they're effectively running Intel. Guess what that's called? Socialism.
Listen, to quote my old boss, he was right about this. Everything Trump touches dies.
Including Intel. Bye-bye, Intel. All right. On that note, Michelle, it is 11:30. I have got to get going with my day here.
Can I play one thing on our way up because it's funny? I mean, I find it funny. Everything that he's saying is not funny, but there's this clip that I saw on Twitter this morning of Stephen Miller. And Stephen Miller is awful, and he's horrible, and he is running the country right now. There's no doubt in my mind for anybody else. But at the end of the day, look at Stephen Miller as a human being. He is from Santa Monica, California. He is a Valley girl with a chip on his shoulder and a weird tick that he does this when he's talking. I don't know what's going on there. I think more people need to be asking questions. But just watch and listen to this guy. He is a Valley girl playing house in Washington.
The president has presided over the most extraordinary economic turnaround in American history. During the Biden administration, we saw zero net job gains for American workers in 4 years, which is an economic depression for American workers. It's an actual depression. Since President Trump has came into office, 100% of job gains have gone to American workers, as millions of foreign workers who are here illegally have left the country.
Tim Cook.
Since President Biden has came into office, did he get it to Duke with that kind of grammar? What the hell is that kind of grammar? Is that how they speak in Santa Monica, California?
Well, that's the thing. And like, as scary and dangerous as Stephen Miller is, and I think everyone should be scared of him to a degree, but as an individual, never forget that visual of him and his sunglasses and his Valley Girl. He is a Valley Girl. He is a Valley Girl. The way he talks, he is a Valley Girl. And he's just like, Donald Trump is the greatest president of ever. And like, that is how he talks. And without all of these people around him, he would be nothing, honestly. So keep making fun of him. He is running the country because no one is stopping him. I think he's running the country more than Susie Wiles, more than anybody else.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And all of this is his policies, the immigration stuff, all of it is his policies. And, you know, I think it was Donald Trump that said if it was up to Stephen Miller, there would only be 100 million people in this country and they'd all be white. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. But, you know, again, take a look at the guy. We shouldn't be scared of him.
No wonder his wife is hanging out with Elon Musk, right? Yeah.
I would love to know more about that too. More people need to be asking questions.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. It was so good to see everybody. JoJo should be back next week. I don't know about Tara.
Tara won't be back probably until next Saturday.
Oh, got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. But Michelle and I are here, and
this was a great conversation, Julie. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. This was fun.
And we're going to have another conversation, I think maybe tomorrow, with somebody from.
Yes. Stay tuned because we have to coordinate some schedules, but we have a retired Lieutenant Colonel Jag from the Marine Corps, recently retired, who said that they would talk to us about what's going on with the Venezuela stuff, and honestly, even more so with the drums of war. And just full disclosure, this person is my sister-in-law. So, and I think she, you know, welcomes the opportunity to be able to speak out about these things because she has not been able to when she was active duty. So just stay tuned for that. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation with her. And that's it. And then tomorrow also, everybody, Donald Trump is going to be attending the men's final at the US Open, which I've got my honeydews hat on today. The women's finals today, the women's finals today. The men's finals tomorrow.
Who are we rooting for at the Open? Who are we rooting for?
I mean, Sinner's great. I love Alcaraz. I mean,
who are we rooting for in the women?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it would have been Coco, you know what I mean? But she's
would have been Coco.
She's out.
It would have been Osaka.
Yeah. But anyways, but Donald Trump is going tomorrow, and guys, the US Open is a very liberal New York crowd. This is not going to go well for him. I'm just saying, it's not going to go well. And I know people who are going, who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to be booing loud. So, you know, anyways, that should be some fun content. But otherwise, Julie, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. It might have been a little heavy, but, you know, at least we got some things off our chest. We hope everybody may have learned a few things or felt that they could commiserate with us. But otherwise, please like and subscribe to the Mayday Network on YouTube. This is how you will be the first to know when we're going to be doing something new, whether it be content or something otherwise. And follow us on social. We're not doing much there yet, but we will. Once we officially launch.
And as you guys see, we're doing like almost a daily little drumbeat of dispatches, very short, like half hour, 20 minutes.
Daily dispatch
on topics of the day. Whatever strikes your mood or our mood, let us know what you guys want us to talk about, what you want to have a conversation about. It's not just us talking to each other. We want, obviously, you guys to join in the conversation as you do on Saturdays. So we're going to do more and more of those every day. Tomorrow, I think it's going to be with Michelle's sister-in-law, who's a former lieutenant colonel in the JAG, which is amazing that Michelle has access to somebody like that. And then we'll see where the news brings us on a daily basis, and we'll keep doing it. So love you guys. Thank you. Joe, if you're watching, we hope your daughter had an amazing
Oh, did you see what happened in the chat?
I did. Her daughter got a little bit of an injury, but I think she's
got a ball to the face, unfortunately, but she'll be all right. She'll be all
right. So, all right, you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, everyone.